I'm a little unclear on the comments today whether
Mm-hmm.
it remains likely that the SAS could go into combat in Iraq. The language seems to have changed a little. Is there an increasing possibility of the SAS going into combat?
We've got two very specific missions, Neil. The first is to fly combat air patrols and strike missions over Iraq. We've also got an early warning and control aircraft, a wedge tail over there. We've got a refueler over there. So the wedge tail and the refueler are flying support missions for combat aircraft. Our Super Hornet strike fighters are there to fly combat air patrols. We've also got up to 200 special forces there, and they are not yet on the ground in Iraq. We're awaiting final legal documentation before that deployment happens. They'll be there on an advise and assist mission. They'll be working with the headquarters of Iraqi units. Some of them may be deployed as kind of combat air controllers to call in airstrikes and so on. It's not our intention that they will engage in actual combat, and certainly there will be no independent combat operations by Australian forces.
The cost of all this, Labor Party, Joe Hockey says the Labor Party should support it. Do you agree? If it's bipartisan?
Well, to his great credit, Opposition Leader Bill Shorten has been very, very bipartisan on this. I've had numerous conversations with Bill about this, and he is an Australian patriot. He fully understands the threat that ISIL poses. He wants to see Australian forces deployed in a sensible way to protect our country and to protect the wider world, and I'm confident that we will continue to have strong bipartisanship from the opposition.
But should he be helping you with financial measures, i.e. your budget, to pay for it?
Well, Neil, look, I want our budget measures to be passed by the Parliament. I accept that the opposition is absolutely entitled to come to its own position on our budget measures. I think there are strong arguments in favour of all of our budget measures. If the Labor Party doesn't want to support our budget measures, I think they should come up with their own alternative savings. And my critique of the Labor Party is that having got us into the budgetary mess, they're now obstructing the measures to get us out of the budgetary mess.
But we are now in a different situation with these added costs of our involvement in Iraq. Has Labor got a responsibility now to pass what you want so they can pay the bills?
Let's keep the costs in perspective. We're talking here about perhaps $500 million a year, depending upon how much ordnance is used. In terms of the debt and deficit disaster that we inherited, this is a relatively small amount. Now, the challenge for Labor is to come up with a proper budget strategy, given that they're not at this stage prepared to accept our budget strategy. Talking Melbourne.